Today we're going to demonstrate how to install a Strutmasters rear air shock conversion on a 2005 to 2011 Cadillac STS. Now the first thing we have to do is remove the trunk liner. This lets us gain access to the upper shock mount. There's a clip that needs to be removed. Now this clip holds the electronic part of the upper shock. And once you get it removed, just disconnect it, pull the top off the shock. After you got that off, there's two nuts that need to be released. Just use a socket and take those nuts off. This will completely release the upper shock. Once you have the upper part of the shock disconnected, safely raise the vehicle and remove the rear wheel. This will let you gain access to the air shock. Now first thing you have to do is remove the air line from the shock and then place a jack under the lower control arm. That gives it some support. We have to support that because we're getting ready to take the hub loose. The next thing we'll have to do is remove the bottom shock bolt. And remove the shock from the vehicle. Next we have to remove the mount to the sway bar. Take it loose from the chassis. This allows the sway bar to become mobile and flexible. Use your jack to put pressure on the lower control arm, then remove the lower control arm bolt. Also remove the bolt from the track control arm. Raise the hub above the control arm. Then carefully remove the jack. This allows the control arm to swing freely. You need it to be free so we can pull the coil spring away from the vehicle. After you've removed the coil spring, remove the bottom isolator from the vehicle. Be careful not to damage it because you'll use it later. Now remove the new Strutmasters shock and coil spring from the box and prepare to install them into the vehicle. Notice that a resistor is attached with each coil spring. Make sure that the lower part of the coil spring is properly seated in the new isolator and then install it into the vehicle. The lower pigtail on those coil springs need to be facing towards the hub. That goes for both sides of the vehicle. Push the top of the coil spring so that it seats around the upper isolator. Now place the jack back under the lower control arm and raise it up and reconnect the hub assembly. You may want to keep that sway bar bracket free until you've done the other side, but don't forget to go back and reattach the sway bar bracket. Now install the rear shock and insert and tighten the lower shock bolt. Now take a couple of zip ties, make some loops in them, and pinch the old air line, just as it's shown here. This prevents air from escaping from the factory air line. This fools the compressor into thinking that everything's okay. Okay, now remove the jack from under the hub and align the shock into its proper position. Now reattach the rear wheel and slowly lower the vehicle to the ground. As you do this, make sure the top of that shock is aligned properly. Now once the vehicle has been lowered and the shock is properly aligned, attach and tighten the top shock nuts. Now unplug the electronic shock connector from the clip. Take the new resistor and plug it in place of the electronic shock connector. And now just stick it back out of the way somewhere. Reinstall the trunk liner and you're all done.